Tonight, in this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television, classes effectively kicked off at GBSS Banga Pongo amid reports of inadequate infrastructure. And also in this newscast, the remains of an abandoned baby leave residents of the New Bell neighborhood here in the city of Douala panic-stricken. Plus, we take you out of Cameroon. Emeritus Pope Benedict XVI denies allegations that he covered up for priests. These are headlines, details and more just in a moment. Good evening to you viewers. Welcome to join us in this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television. Let's begin right away here in the economic capital, Douala. As we announced in the headlines, residents of the New Bell neighborhood were panic-stricken. That was early today after they discovered a lifeless baby in the area. The perpetrator is still on the run, as Eto Rosalie Fleur tells us in the following report.
I was here this morning. They just informed us there that something have happened. So I rushed here with my neighbor. We rushed there now. They said that girl have delivered a baby and killed a baby.
The voice of a neighbor to the suspect revealing the despicable act. The lifeless body of a newborn baby wrapped in a polythene bag. It was in an advanced state of decomposition with a very strong odor. The news of the discovery spread rapidly across the Kolmitat neighborhood, just like wildfire.
I'm the one who told the sister that your sister have delivered a baby, 9 months pregnant, and killed a baby.
A girl in the quarter has been pregnant of recent and was expected to put to birth. But neighbors got very curious to find her unpregnant and with no baby. The curiosity led to the discovery of a polythene bag thrown into a gutter. It was then realized to have been a baby newly born, killed, then dumped by its mother. The manhunt by locals led to the escape of the suspect.
The girl was standing there. I saw her this morning. When I greet her, she even greet me. I went and be telling my neighbor. Now my neighbor said she have already run. She have passed like this. You know, people was already looking for her.
Policemen from the Sid district came to the scene. The room of the suspect was empty. Her pictures, however, showed she must have been a buoyant type. Nobody dared to enter the room. Investigations have been opened.
Still here in the economic capital, Douala, 6 members of the gang which robbed the Marché Congo Eco Bank last April 2013 have been captured by elements of the Sith Police District. The alleged bandits were yesterday presented to the public in the presence of the Littoral Regional Governor Joseph Beti Asomo. Rosalie Fleur once again tells us more. We surely shall be coming back to that report in a subsequent newscast. Classes effectively kicked off today, as we announced in the headlines, at Banga Pongo for the 2013-2014 academic year. Students and teachers answered present this Wednesday, but the problem still is at the level of infrastructure. And reporters who traveled to Banga Pongo today observed that 5 students were squeezed on a single bench and that only 2 teachers were available or were present on campus. And school authorities, however, denied letting our cameras into the school on grounds that they are following instructions from the government. We surely shall be coming back to that in a subsequent newscast. Meantime, circulation, that was another observation that was met by reporters on their way to Banga Pongo. Circulation on the route leading to Banga Pongo is a veritable nightmare, and the situation has made cost of transportation very, very expensive. Pamela Ndukong tells us more in the following report.
The deplorable state of the main road into Banga Pongo, a neighborhood in Douala 3, makes life so difficult and uncomfortable to the people living around that community.
We are really suffering. There is no road. Even the road to go to GBSS Banga Pongo. Look at my legs. Mud everywhere.
Inhabitants of that community explain that this bad state of the road have lasted for so long and say transportation in and out of Banga Pongo seems more like a nightmare. Traders of the Bangapongo main market say they are unable to save money from their businesses because all their small profit goes to transportation expenses.
There is no road to come here. With a small bag, you pay 2,000 francs. How much do you gain to spend that kind of money? When the road is bad, how do we carry foodstuff to the market?
The poor state of the road has made it difficult for cars to drive in and out of that locality. Inhabitants of Bangapongo are pleading for government help and say the candidates going in for this year's municipal and legislative election should encourage them by reconstructing their road.
We are begging on government to construct our road, at least for our children. The candidates vying for posts in these elections should encourage us by constructing our road. With that, we will have every reason to vote for them in the election.
We are in the market, main market in Bangapongo, where people around this community cry a loud cry because of the bad roads and the difficulties they are facing because of the road. The market sellers around me and around this area are complaining that it is very difficult for them to transport their goods to the market, all because of this bad and unconstructed road. They cry one cry, that of the mayor of this locality, to help them to see that their road is constructed. Special envoy from Bangapongo, Pamela Ndukong, reporting for Equinox Television.
Thanks indeed, Pamela Ndukong, for that report. A situation which is going to be more and more difficult as students of GBSS in Bangapongo resumed classes for the 2013-2014 academic year. That was today. The Minister of Public Health, Andre Mamafuda, visited the 8 children who got missing in a forest in the village of Malimba, that is in the Sanaga Maritime Division. Andre Mamafuda expressed satisfaction over what he termed the improved health condition of the children. He assured the parents of the children that the kids will be treated free of charge. And so far, the whereabouts of one of the children remains unknown. Now, let's listen to the Public Health Minister. He further tells us about the health situation of the 8 children under treatment in hospital.
After this terrible situation where their children have 10 days in the war, in the field, then after 10 days in the regional hospital of Edea, I noticed with satisfaction that the 8 children recover very, very, very well. Then I will thank the administrative authorities after their intervention and the medical professional, because after 10 days I noticed that the cure is very, very at a good level, and we go to Yaoundé with satisfaction. I would like to confirm that all fees, all expenses concerning the treatment for these 8 children are totally free. But
That is the Minister of Public Health, Andre Mamafuda, telling us about the health situation of the 8 children that are under medical attention at the Edea Regional Hospital, that is in the Sanaga Maritime Division. The SDF, the Social Democratic Front, we are now on a campaign news ahead of the country's twin elections before the 30th of September 2013. The Social Democratic Front candidates for Vuri South has promised, or they have promised, to look into the problems of education, health, and deplorable situation of markets in the Douala 2 municipality. They made the promise today during a proximity campaign which took place at the Nkululu market. For Hansen Chanji tells us more in the following report.
Campaigns are gradually wrapping up with few more days to go. The Social Democratic Front Party in Wuri South is conscious of this. In a bid to get feedback from the people, the SDF party visited the Nkululu market in an operation Meet the People. This proximity campaign involves both candidates standing as municipal councillors and parliamentarian hopeful Fidel Mbami in the Douala 2 and Wuri South respectively.
Il y a par exemple ces problèmes de taxes que nous voulons revoir à la baisse.
The SDF party says once voted in power on September 30, they will put an end to the disorder that reigns at the Nkululu market, especially the problem of taxes. To the SDF party, their victory is already assured and they are only waiting on September 30 for the verdict to be delivered. This, they say, calls for celebration.
J'axe mes préoccupations beaucoup plus sur la santé.
Fidel Mbami, SDF legislative candidate for Wuri South, says she is more preoccupied in solving the problems of education, health, and cleanliness of the people in her constituency. The leaders of the SDF party in Wuri South have called on the people to vote massively for the SDF list, which they say is the only solution to their problems.
For Hansen Chanji, they're reporting on campaign. Meantime, the ENDP party in the Wuri South, candidates of the said political party have told inhabitants of Kanyabasi to vote massively for the party on during the September 30th elections. They described Kanyabasi as a meeting point of the Douala II municipality. For Hansen Chanji, you tell us more once again.
The campaign caravan of the ANDP party has continued its tour in the Douala II municipality, preaching the good news, which party officials say is on the way for the people. The National Alliance for Democracy and Progress, ANDP, visited the population of Kanyabasi in Douala II to present their candidate and let potential voters to vote for the party come September 30.
C'est l'une des localités, quand vous observez notre liste.
The head of the ANDP list for Douala II Council says Kanyabasi is one of the party's main zones, which has 4 candidates among the 41 persons standing as councillors for Douala II Council.
Donc nous leur avons dit, le problème pouvait être solutionné, mais seulement...
Salomon Jamming says the problem of the people in this area can only be solved if they vote for the ANDP list. To him, there are possibilities in togetherness.
Ensemble, c'est possible.
The militant of the party of Amadou Mustafa told the population that Kanyabasi is a meeting point in Wuri South, but has been abandoned in terms of development, in spite its importance in the area. Considered as a center of Douala II, the people of Kanyabasi, after listening to the message of the ANDP party, could not hide their feelings.
We take you to news out of Cameroon, but we remain within the African continent. Kenyan citizens are currently in a state of mourning that was officially declared by President Uhuru Kenyatta for 3 days. That follows the end of the siege by militants of the Westgate Mall. And by the end of the 4-day siege, 5 of the attackers were shot dead by the Kenyan military, with 11 suspects so far arrested. Let's have the details of that report with Franz Venkat.
After 4 days, it's over. The Westgate siege took a heavy toll. Scores of civilians and several security officers lost their lives. Hundreds of people were wounded.
Our head is bloodied but unbowed. The criminals found us unafraid, as we shall ever be. We cannot be conquered.
President Uhuru Kenyatta said the gunmen had been shamed and defeated. Since Saturday, when Al-Shabaab militants stormed the shopping centre, security forces made multiple assaults on the besieged building. The final push came on Tuesday. 5 Al-Shabaab militants have been killed. Another 11 are in custody.
I promise that we shall have a full accountability for the mindless destruction, deaths, pain, loss, and suffering we have all undergone as a national family.
In his address to the nation, the president praised the Kenyan people for their compassion and patriotism. He announced 3 days of national mourning. Meanwhile, the families of the victims are dealing with their grief.
I've lost my nephew, who I love very much. The mother is a single mother, as is the only child.
Funeral services have begun, including a cremation ceremony for a 16-year-old girl killed in the attack. The death toll could yet rise. Dozens of people known to have been in the shopping centre are still missing.
Still in news out of Cameroon, some 208 people in the Awaran province or district of Pakistan have been killed in an earthquake. The reports say over 90% of the mud brick homes in Awaran were destroyed, with some 373 people seriously injured. Let's have the details once again with Franz Van Kat.
Images from Pakistan television of the aftermath from Tuesday's earthquake. Officials said hundreds were killed, most of whom were crushed when their homes collapsed. Many survivors were left homeless. The earthquake struck in the Awaran district of Baluchistan, Pakistan's largest but least populated province. The remote region has made it difficult for news outlets to collect video footage. The powerful earthquake struck 250 kilometers away from Pakistan's largest city, and yet Karachi's buildings were still evacuated.
I was working on my computer in the office. Suddenly I felt tremors. My table and computer started shaking. I thought I was feeling dizziness, but I soon found out they were tremors. I immediately left and came down for safety.
Pakistan's military said it is rushing troops and aid to the region, and officials are also investigating reports that the quake created a 6-meter-high island off the nearby coast.
Still out of Cameroon, we talk about the 68th session of the UN General Assembly, this time that has so far commenced in New York, with the French President François Hollande saying he welcomes dialogue with Iran. President Hollande has recognized Iran's right to pursue nuclear proliferation for energy, but says its government must prove it is not a military is not having any military intention. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani has already reassured world leaders that nuclear weapons had no place in Iran's security and defense doctrine. And so far, heads of state will continue to dialogue on world issues with until October 2nd, when the UN General Assembly would be ending. Still out of Cameroon, Emeritus Pope Benedict XVI has denied sex cover. As we announced in the headlines, he unexpectedly broke the silence by denying that he covered up for the sexual abuse of some priests, that is in Italy and the world at large. We thank you so much, viewers, for having joined us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on ATV. Tonight, we talked about back to school in Banga Pongo. Students, the authorities of the institution opened their doors to students today. We thank you once again. Roland Akon will be coming up in just a moment with the special Municipal and Legislative 2013 program. Join him with his guests and also our regional correspondents. Thank you once again for joining us.